On this episode, we look at a new safety device on transit buses. Then we join Governor Vilsack on his walk across Iowa. A conference in North Dakota looks at injury prevention in Indian country, where pedestrians form 25% of traffic fatalities. Bike Walk Virginia meets in Charlottesville. An old pedestrian mall is seeing new life. The League of American Bicyclists hosts a legislative summit in Washington. And finally, the Thunderhead Alliance promotes local bicycle advocacy. Stay tuned. We're in Washington, D.C., talking with Stephen Tavankibble with the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, also known as WMATA. What is WMATA?
Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority. We're the number 2 transit agency today in the United States. We operate rail service and metro bus service throughout the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, also serving Maryland and Virginia.
You just had a little celebration this morning. What was going on?
Well, today we marked the completion of installing new S1 guards. These are safety guards, safety devices that have been installed on all of our metro buses, all 1,443 buses throughout the entire system. These safety guards are located at the right-hand rear of our metro buses. And basically what they are, in a nutshell, is that they are safety devices. Unfortunately, in the event if somebody does have an accident or if there's a situation where a customer should fall while departing from a bus or anywhere near a bus, if they come within close contact of the bus towards the right-hand wheels, there's a safety device that's placed underneath the bus where the device will actually push the person away to safety without having to be run over by the back of the bus by the rear wheels.
The right rear wheel, is that where most of the trouble is with pedestrians and buses?
Exactly. That's where most accidents do take place. Nearly 90% of all accidents that involve buses with pedestrians occur towards the rear of the bus. So with this new apparatus, this will clearly help reduce any type of injury that should, if it does occur.
You've got a tight budget, a tight capital budget, a tight operating budget. Where do you find the money for a safety device like this?
Well, the money came from one of our departments here at Metro, our risk management department. Since the risk management department has to deal with issues such as this in terms of safety issues, incidents that do take place, we were able to find the resources from the risk management department group that was willing to put up the actual funding for this. And we're certainly grateful for them, for that department. They were able to come up with the resources for it.
Yeah. You're one of the first in the country. Is this something you think other transit agencies are going to be interested in?
Quite possibly, once they see it work. And we've already had some inquiries from some transit agencies in the United States. New York, Philadelphia have already approached us. General inquiries about what the S1 Guard is and what will it do. We take a lot of pride here at WMATA in being a leader, a cutting-edge leader in technology on a variety of issues here for WMATA, whether it's the new S1 guards for buses, technology for customers, for using the Metro Rail and Metro Bus system. Over the last 3 years, we've implemented so many different forms of technological advances for our customers. And what this shows today, by completing the S1 guards, installing all the S1 guards on our buses, is that's another example of this transit agency thinking about the customer, putting the customer first, and always thinking about safety as a number one priority here.
We're in Luzerne, Iowa, talking with Governor Tom Vilsack. What's going on this week?
Well, I'm walking across the state of Iowa and visiting over 21 communities, listening and learning from the citizens of Iowa, particularly in small communities.
Why walking?
Well, I tell you, I have a chance to drive through Iowa and fly over it, but I have found that when you walk, you have an opportunity to appreciate some of the quiet beauty of our state. It's an opportunity to be alone for a little bit, to reflect on the strengths and virtues and values of Iowa, and to actually just be inspired by its beauty.
How is Iowa for pedestrians when you pass through the towns? What are the facilities like?
Well, I tell you, the folks have been extraordinarily helpful and are excited to see us, and they really go out of their way. And in fact, as we walked along the roads, we'd stop by countryside homes, farmsteads, people would offer us water, juice. And, you think, well, maybe that's because they know I'm the governor, but in fact, several people have done that without knowing who we are. When you're dressed up this way with a hat on and sunglasses on, you aren't really quite as noticeable as you might be if you had a suit and tie on. So there's a friendliness and a spirit of community that you experience when you walk through the state.
Would you recommend walking to visitors to Iowa?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's an opportunity for you to see Iowa at a much slower pace and to appreciate the animal life. Today we saw 2 wild turkeys early in the morning. Yesterday it was a fox, so you get appreciation for wildlife, plenty of deer, obviously a lot of songbirds. So it's really a tremendous experience, and it was really an invigorating experience.
We're in Bismarck, North Dakota, talking with David Gipp, who's president of United Tribes Technical College. What is UTTC?
Well, United Tribes Technical College has been around since 1969, and we're really an intertribal college is what we are, a technical college that was founded by 5 different tribal governments here in the state of North Dakota, and some are in South Dakota, by the way. But we've been in the business of serving American Indians and their families since 1969, and we provide 14 different programs that are 2-year degree programs, and we also do technical training programs, one of those being the injury prevention degree program, which we've just created, and it's now into its 3rd full year. We've had, or 4th year, I guess I should say, but we've now had our 2nd graduating class out of United Tribes, and we're the first institute of any type to provide a degree in injury prevention across the nation, not just among tribal colleges, but really of any type of college in the nation. So we're very busy working on the Northern Plains in Bismarck, North Dakota, and serving up to 40 different tribes, and we have a student population of about 370 adults, maybe close to 400, and about 250 children, because we have 2 daycares and an elementary school on our campus as well.
And this week is the 5th annual Native American Lifesavers Conference.
Right. As we talk,
what's that?
As we talk about the 5th annual Lifesavers Conference, it is one that we have fostered and developed for the past 5 years, bringing really all of those people who are interested in literally saving lives in their communities. And the way to do that is to try to educate more of our people in our communities. So we bring in people who work with safety, who work with health, who work with transportation issues, to try to give good ideas and work on preventative means for educating the public on how to reduce everything from accidents to injuries to even quality of life and health issues in our home communities, including things like buckling up, as they say, both for adults and for children, proper use of safety belts, proper use of seat restraints for children, the proper use of even being aware of how to drive properly, and how to drive properly on highways, those kinds of things. So we have representatives from the various highway departments, including the Federal Highway Department and the State Highway Department systems. And we also have a lot of health and community educators that come to this conference. And part of this whole effort is to, again, educate and give the skills to people, key people in our community, so that we can educate a lot of our people on how to practice safety in their communities and how to improve quality of life issues that will really increase the lifespan of our population, because unfortunately our Indian population on many of our tribal reservations have some of the worst statistics when it comes to extremely high rates of accidents, both on highways. We have high rates of health issues that relate to diabetes and heart issues as well. So a lot of our work in the injury prevention field is to share information through a Lifesavers conference that can give practitioners in their community, educators and otherwise, how they can use strategies and tactics in their communities, again, to better educate students, community members, community leaders, political leaders on this whole issue of injury prevention and saving lives. So that's kind of what the Lifesavers Conference in a nutshell is all about. Obviously, we get into a lot of very specific details that each of our speakers talks about. The other part of this, when we talk about American Indian populations, which United Tribes is really has a mission in its charter to serve American Indians, is to empower and to educate American Indian people so that they can become not only more knowledgeable, but take control of things themselves in terms of their future and their destiny, and make people more and more independent, if you will.
We're talking with Dennis Renville, who's director of the Injury Prevention Program at the United Tribes Technical College. What is the Injury Prevention Program?
An injury prevention program at United Tribes Technical College is a 2-year degree program, an associate applied science degree. It's to empower Native students predominantly to empower them to go back to their tribal communities to start interventions in highway safety, suicide prevention, domestic violence, and fire prevention, drowning prevention, trying to save lives and prevent injuries, essentially is what it's all about.
What are the major causes of injuries in tribal country?
The major causes of injuries with all the data, with all the data that we have available is alcohol is the contributing factor in just about everything. Motor vehicle crashes. 75% of all Native Americans killed in motor vehicle crashes are alcohol-related. Suicide. We heard presenters this past 2 days. Suicide is like 95% of suicide victims were alcohol-related, alcohol or drug-related. Drownings, same thing, same statistics. It's alcohol that's killing our people off.
What sort of problem do you have with pedestrian crashes in Indian country?
Pedestrian crashes in Indian country is a sad story, in which is very preventable. But every day, 2 Native Americans lose their lives due to motor vehicle crashes. In this category, pedestrians are a part of it, and 25% of those fatalities are pedestrians that are walking along the highway. Most of them are, most of these deaths are occurring at night. Dark roads. Usually the person that's been killed, the pedestrian, was wearing dark clothes, so they can't be seen. And alcohol, again, is a contributing factor. And like I say, we got some success stories to say up here in North Dakota with a couple of new road projects at Standing Rock and Fort Berthold, 3 affiliated tribes. They built pedestrian bikeways 35 feet off the road, getting the pedestrians off the roadside. Most of our roads before, a lot of our roads before do not have shoulders, so that puts the pedestrian on the highway. At nighttime, high rates of speed, alcohol or drug-impaired drivers.
Is that have you seen the sort of success with that project that you'll expect to see more separated pedestrian paths built?
Oh, definitely so, because we had a coalition with the 4 tribes in North Dakota back in '96 through '98, and our four tribes expanded to 13 tribes, and we shared this information with them. And now, when they work with their roads people at their respective tribal communities, in our large concentration of populations, they're asking for this. They're getting the tribal council involved. So yes, you're going to see more pedestrian pathways built in the Northern Plains.
We're in Charlottesville, Virginia, talking with Alan Turnbull, who's director of Bike Walk Virginia. What is Bike Walk Virginia?
Bike Walk Virginia is a new nonprofit, and it's to promote biking and walking in the state of Virginia for transportation, recreation, fitness, and a better environment. So we're trying to think of biking and walking as an integral part of our daily activities and communities, and we just started and hope we can promote that.
And this room is rapidly emptying out. What's been going on here the last couple of days?
We've had our 3rd annual Bike Walk Virginia Conference, but it's the first time we've had walk in the program. We've had 2 bicycling conferences, and that grew out of the interest of the enthusiasts around the state for biking, but the walking and pedestrian issues are very, very important to us, and when you improve the facilities for the cyclists, you're improving them for the pedestrians and vice versa usually. So it all comes together, and we're trying to see everything as a whole. It was exciting because we had our highest attendance ever. We had close to 100 folks, and it's been a great conference.
Other than pedestrian issues, what other issues have been new this year that have been discussed here?
I think in previous years we might say brought up issues, of course, of safety, proper design of crosswalks for pedestrians. We need separate bike lanes. We need some signalized intersections for the pedestrians and the cyclists, and focused on those issues. But I think this year we expanded it to say really two areas were new in the program themes: health and fitness, pretty much looking at cardiovascular fitness and long-term lifestyles. That is, can we do things each day to keep us fit? And we don't have to, go to the gym each day if we walk a little bit or bike a little bit. So the health and fitness is an integral part of our lifestyles. The other part is land use patterns. We can talk all day about, having better facilities, but if we continue to build suburbs with the cul-de-sacs 10 miles away from the shopping center or other places, how are we going to be able to do that? Because most people, walk a mile to work or to play, and most people bike 5 miles. So we've got to think small in the way we build our communities.
It's a little early to be looking forward to next year. What have you learned the last 3 that you might apply to next year's conference?
Oh, I think just let the folks who come with their enthusiasm, give them more time to speak because they're excited. The education program at various schools around the state of Virginia, elementary, middle, and high school level, these folks are enthusiastic. Their enthusiasm is contagious, and just allow more time for questions and answers as far as the logistical or program guide, and it happens. So we don't need much guidance to get the Virginians on the right track.
We're in Charlottesville, Virginia, talking with Kevin Cox. What's this area behind us?
Well, this is Charlottesville's downtown mall. It's a pedestrian mall that was created in 1976 when the street was bricked over and closed to through traffic.
How'd it do?
Well, at first, like many of the pedestrian malls in the country that were created at that time, it didn't do very well. It just sat here for probably 20 years. Many of the businesses closed at 5 on the weekdays, weren't open on the weekends. It was dead. There weren't very many people down here. It had the impression of a vacant, uncared for area that was nice to walk in, but it just didn't do very well in terms of attracting people. That was then. Things have changed dramatically in the last 10 years, though, and now it's probably one of the most successful pedestrian malls in the country. It's a very nice place, and there are quite frequently large crowds of people down here.
What's happened over the years that makes it successful now?
Well, I think one of the most critical things that happened was people started to come down here and live on the mall in apartments over the stores. And that created a critical mass of people that were always down here. So the public's perception of the area was that it was inhabited. It was no longer an empty void. And some of the stores started staying open a little longer to meet the needs of this resident base, if you will. That was one of the bigger things. And then, well, the national economy helped a lot. The population growth in the surrounding county helped considerably because this area has evolved into something of an entertainment and nice shopping district. We have a lot of nice restaurants and a lot of very nice stores, a lot of bookstores. There are, I think, 5 or 6 used bookstores on the downtown mall. And that has attracted a lot of people from the surrounding county as well as the city to the downtown mall, especially on the weekends. It can be downright crowded down here.
If I work not too far from the mall and want to walk there, is that something that's easy to do?
No, it's not. And this is the irony of Charlottesville. This beautiful pedestrian mall, and it can be rather difficult to get to on foot. It can also be difficult to find parking, and that may motivate some to walk. I don't know, but it's one of my main complaints with the city is the conditions at some of the intersections, the conditions of the sidewalks are not conducive to walking. It can be difficult to walk to the pedestrian mall.
Bicyclists really have very important contributions to make.
We're in Washington, D.C., talking with Patrick McCormick, who's Communications Director with the League of American Bicyclists. What is the League?
The League is the nation's largest membership organization of cyclists. We have 300,000 affiliated members, and we work on behalf of the nation's 42.5 million bicyclists. We work to make America more bicycle friendly, and we work to promote cycling for fun, fitness, and transportation.
How long have you been around?
We have been around since 1880 in various different guises, but we've been here in Washington for a number of years. We work through advocacy and education and lobbying as well.
What were the issues back in 1880? What were you looking at then?
Well, back then, essentially, cyclists got together to demand the paving of roads. There were very few, if any, paved roads back then, and the efforts of the cyclists who formed the League back then led to eventually to the highway system as we know it today. So the interest in in highways and in paving roads actually came from cyclists, not drivers, which is ironic but true.
And this is National Bike Month. What's the meaning of National Bike Month?
Well, during National Bike Month, we work to promote cycling all across the country ourselves, and there are hundreds of local and state organizations, companies, governments, big groups, small groups, all doing their part to promote cycling. Some part of it, a lot of communities here in Washington, D.C., for example, have a Bike to Work Day in which they promote cycling as an alternative to commuting by car to work. And it's very effective in terms of getting people to take up cycling or at least try it because it's got so many great benefits. For one, it reduces every person on a bike is not a person in a car, increasing traffic and adding to the smog out there. The cyclist is a fitter person. The cyclist is also a happier and healthier person mentally and spiritually because of avoiding the stress of driving and being able to relax while you're on the bike and not screaming at other drivers.
Someone taking up bicycling, they want to get serious about it. What sort of training is available if I figure I need to learn how to ride in traffic a little better than I do now?
Well, the League has the nation's only nationally certified instructor training program for cycling. We have instructors all over the country. You can contact them through our website, which is www.bikeleague.org, and look for our education program, and you can find an instructor in your area. Contact that person, ask them when they're scheduling their next classes on cycling, and you can learn an enormous amount, which will not only make you a safer cyclist, but also one who's more efficient on the bike, and you'll be able to impart that knowledge to lots of other people around you, including children, which is a big emphasis of ours, is safe cycling for children.
A little earlier this spring, you had a big event here in Washington. What was going on?
That was our National Bike Summit, which was a tremendous success. We had approximately 200 people here from around the country, from advocacy organizations all over the country, from the bike industry, from all kinds of groups, transportation professionals, and so on, here to meet each other, learn the important issues in bicycling advocacy today and in education for bicycling. And we also met with, we set up a day in which people could meet with their representatives in Congress. We met with about a third of the House side and an enormous amount of staffers from the Senate as well. and people were able to communicate their local issues to their representatives in Washington, as well as the bigger issues, several of which we presented.
And the summit wasn't all work and no play. What did you folks do for fun at the summit?
Well, we did. You're right. We did have a day of play, or an afternoon anyway. We went on a bike ride with the Congressional Bike Caucus. There are now, I believe, almost 100 members of the Congressional Bike Caucus since the summit, and we went out for a ride on a beautiful afternoon after a rainy morning, and toured many of the monuments and other sites here in Washington, which was terrific fun for everybody.
We're in Washington, D.C., talking with Susie Stevens, who's director of the Thunderhead Alliance. What is the Alliance?
It's a national coalition of state and local bicycle advocacy organizations.
And what is it that a local bicycle advocacy organization would do?
Lobby, advocate, promote, educate both the public to encourage them to bicycle, and elected officials and decision makers, anybody to create better bicycling and walking environments.
And what does the Alliance do for your members? Why do you exist?
We have three purposes. The first is to increase the capacity so that all 50 of our membership organizations are bigger, stronger, more powerful. The second one is to nurture new organizations, find people who want to start organizations and get them moving. And the third one is to be a collective voice on national issues affecting our member groups.
And you have an annual retreat for the directors of your member groups. What happens at that?
We get excited. I mean, there's a lot of information sharing. We network with each other. We learn everything we can about how to make our organizations bigger and better and stronger, but we also just get excited about what it is that we do and stay energized.
And you're in Washington this week as part of the National Bicycle Summit.
That's right.
What's your role in that?
My role has been to represent. I live in Washington State, and as much as anything here, my role has been to go and talk to my members of Congress from my state and talk about my community. But it's also been a good chance for us to meet with the different groups like this around the country and to try to get some new members and tell people who we are and what we do.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.